Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
All right. Hello and welcome to week 3 of the C2C Rankem. Kind of like the football season, going by pretty quick here. I mean, I know we're only in week 3, but I am joined as usual by my prime oos, Tim Hendricks. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. Really excited for this week. I'm a big fan of movies. Seemed like everything this week was in my wheelhouse.
That is good. I mean, I like movies too. I mean, we've gone to a few of them when in our younger days, and I remember sitting in Iron Mountain Theater when they just built it, and somebody next to me was quoting The Lion King and making the whole laugh. I don't know who that would have been, but
No clue.
And the thing is you weren't worried about getting kicked out because what are they going to do? Kick you out of a free movie? So
Exactly.
So, yeah.
They were all free that day.
Yeah. So no, it was definitely nice. So this week we're going to break down comedies, action movies, our personal favorites, and then we got some movie quotes that some of our favorite movie quotes. So Tim, let's get into it. Let's do the comedy movies. What is your number 5 comedy movie?
My number 5 comedy movie. I absolutely love comedies, and I know this one probably on a bunch of people's number ones, but Friday.
I forgot about that one.
I love Friday. I mean, that basically made Chris Tucker's career. That movie was brilliant from the start. I couldn't stop laughing for 99% of that movie. That thing was brilliant.
And actually, all 3 of them were actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I thought there was a Christmas one too, but I could be wrong. Maybe that was the third one, but no, all 3 of those are good. I totally forgot about that one. For me, I'm kind of going old school because it was like one of the first comedies, Airplane. I mean, there's a lot of. I don't think it would be a movie that would be made today, but I always like Airplane. I watch it every time it's on. So gotta go with the classic, but I do like the Friday one. What's your number 4?
I liked Airplane too. I almost put that on the list.
Nope.
Especially that jive scene with I definitely you're not gonna make that movie today just because of that jive scene alone.
Yeah.
I think it was brilliant.
Or what about when they got the patient out there, they're trying to transport her, and the stewardess is singing a song and she swinging the guitar around, everybody's singing, and she gets the IVs out of her,
That movie is anything that Mel Brooks did back in the 70s wouldn't get made today. Anything like the Abrams did back in the day too, I don't think you're making those today at all.
Yeah, exactly. I got you. Number 4, Tim.
My number 4, I went kind of a little not as old school as you did, but I went with Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay.
The Ghostbusters, from start to finish, it was tough to find a spot where you weren't laughing. It had its serious spots, but that thing was just laughing from start to finish. Harold Ramis wrote an amazing script. It's just funny beyond funny beyond funny.
Yeah, especially when the I don't know what you call the animals took over the bodies or whatever, especially the little guy. I can't think of his name. And gatekeeper and all that.
Right.
So, we're a little newer on my next few here. I'm going Growing Ups. With Adam Sandler and his crew. I mean, any movie that Sandler puts out, I shouldn't say any movie. There's been some duds, but that group of guys when they're all together, even Grown Ups 2 was actually pretty good. But I'm going Grown Ups for number 4. So Tim, what do you got for number 3?
Grown Ups was really really good. I went older school. I went back to old school because I remember the first time I saw this movie, and it took me a while to actually see this movie, and people are looking at me going, probably looking at me going, why did it take you so long? Um, I went Animal House,
Oh yeah,
another movie right now that you could make today if you wanted to.
yep,
Um, it's just it's scary how funny that is. And everything, and just to see the people's career that come from that movie is brilliant. Kevin Bacon's first movie is Animal House.
Oh,
Um,
is it? I did not know
it
that.
is. It's
Okay.
hilarious when you realize all the comedic geniuses that were in it. Belushi was just an absolute god in that movie.
Yeah, Blue Shoe was definitely a good one. For number 3, I even went newer. I thought Ted, the first and second one, were pretty funny. I mean, there's a lot of, and that's probably as borderline as we'll get with some of the movies we thought back then. Was like, they're not going to make those. Ted to kind of push that borderline. So 1 and 2, I definitely got Ted at number 3. Number 2 for you to
I went with a Cohen classic, a Cohen brothers classic. Uh, I went with something that was really funny. I went with the Big Lebowski.
okay.
The the Big Lebowski to me is the Cohen brothers at its finest. It really recreated Jeff Bridges as an actor that could play any role, and it was just funny because and between Jeff Bridges and John Goodman and
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi, they played off each other so well. Um, uh, 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 Totoro played such a great character, a scary character when you realize what he was. And Philip Seymour Hoffman played such a straight character off of everybody else. It was just funny, and then you just sit there with the at the beginning and the end. You've got Sam Elliott, and it's just funny when you watch the entire thing. It's just brilliant.
Yeah. So for me, number 2, one of probably Jim Carrey's funniest movies is Dumb and Dumber. I went there number 2. When they brought it back with them again, because it was funny, but Dumb and Dumber 2, we could quote a lot of those scenes, and so all right, you're number 1.
I went with Robin Williams. I went with the Robin Williams classic. This is just one of these movies again where we've got you can quote left and right, and it's Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh man, I forgot about that one too.
It's
Oh
just when you find out that they threw away 5-6 hours of just improving and
yeah.
ramping and just going off and you see what that final piece is. It's just I think it's comedic genius at its best. I think it's the best comedy I think I've ever seen.
And the saddest thing is, for before his passing, they were rumored to try to get Mrs. Dollfire too, but I think it was the daughter that was the one that played the daughter. I think she was against it. I think it didn't not want to do it. I think they had a
I
hard
think
time getting. Or
I
was she
think
the one
she had
pushing it?
she retired. No, she retired. She
Okay,
retired
maybe that's what it was.
because
Yeah,
when you find out who she is, she's
yeah,
Jesse Eisenberg's sister, and
sure.
she had not wanted to do it anymore, and she had gotten out of acting.
Yeah.
But
I
everybody
knew it was
else
something
wanted
like
to do
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had
Uh,
quit.
yeah, and that's sad because I think it would have been nice to see a Mrs. Doubtfire too. I don't know how it would turn out after X amount of years. That's one thing with these sequels. I mean, you bring them out 10, 15 years after, it's like, okay, kind of lost its luster. Um, for me, probably the one movie that will never, ever come close to remaking or seeing again Blazing Saddles. I've watched it and laugh every time, and you know, even if you watch the edited version on TV, it's still funny. You know,
Oh
because
yeah,
one, you know why it should
absolutely.
be, but you know. So let's go into some movies that we left off the list there, Tim. I mean, I know you said Airplane. I mean, so what else did you kind of leave off?
What else? I left a movie that could be quoted a million times over. Caddyshack. I don't know
Okay,
why I
yep, I
left it
left that
off,
one
but
off.
Caddyshack to me is it's Harold Ramis at its finest. I mean, the guy is a comedic genius. Any basically any of the National Lampoon Vacation movies.
Yeah,
Those were all comedic. Those were all comedic gold too. It's a
yep,
top five is just such a tough list to put together. If you had 10,
yeah.
I still think I'm pulling movies off of lists.
Well, yeah, exactly. I've actually even had 10 listed. I'm just like, okay, how can I rearrange this? I mean, you got Spaceballs. I mean, you got the
Yeah.
Naked Gun series. I liked all the Naked Guns.
Mhm.
Happy Gilmore. I mean, they're talking about bringing out a second Happy Gilmore, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I mean, all the Ace Venturas were pretty. I mean, the first two were pretty
Exactly.
funny. Though. The third one was kind of, yeah. 40-year-old virgin. I mean, you know, name some of the, but yeah, Fridays. I forgot. I wasn't even thinking about Fridays, and those were hilarious, especially the first one. Yeah,
Yeah, that first one was gold.
yeah, exactly. Like you said, it launched Chris Rock's career. You know, probably helped Ice Cube. I mean, so all right. So let's move into some action films. This one was another one that we're probably not going to have the same list, but you know, um, that's what's meant to be. We're not supposed to have the same list. So, Tim, number 5.
I'm going with something that's probably going to shock you, but I'm going with the first Point Break.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Point Break,
okay.
Keanu Reeves, Patrick Swayze. Um, it with that movie to me, I could sit there. It launched Patrick Swayze into another. I know everybody's going to say Dirty Dancing put Patrick Swayze on the list. Red Dawn put Patrick Swayze out there too, but
Roadhouse.
Roadhouse is another one. But to me, Point Break really showed a lot to me, and I just love Keanu Reeves. Keanu, to me, he's wrong Keanu Reeves stuff.
For me, my number 5, because I think these two guys together, golden. Martin Lawrence and Will Smith in Bad Boys. I mean, that probably could have been somewhat of a comedy movie because I mean there was some quotable movies, some funny areas, but I even think the second one was probably a little bit better than the first one. But the Bad Boys definitely. So number 4 for you.
Number 4, Pacino and De Niro and 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 Val Kilmer in Heat. That movie is a
Oh,
thrill ride. That is a thrill ride to me from start to finish. That you couldn't have. Everybody says to watch that movie when you want to talk about a heist movie. That is a masterclass. That thing, that for me from start to finish, I think it's 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it doesn't feel like it's 2 hours and 45 minutes. It feels like it's an hour and a half, and you expect it to go on longer. That thing is, to me, that's a brilliant movie.
okay. No, I definitely like that. For me, Keanu Reeves and Matrix. I think that was not one of my forte movies, but I definitely enjoyed watching it. Not what can you say? I mean, going to another universe, and all right. So number 3.
I went I went with the Born Identity. I
Oh,
Matt it showed that Matt Damon can play an action star. It seemed like it was the American version of James Bond that who had amnesia. I thought that movie started a great series, and then you bring in Jeremy Renner, and 5 movies in, I think I love this series, but that Born Identity, that first one, just was totally beautiful.
Yeah. For me, The Fugitive. I I I love that movie. Him. You know. Getting a suspect for the killing of his wife, and he goes and changes his identity and gets into. He's a doctor. He tries to get back in and got the fake ID and stuff and running, and they can't catch him. And when they do, he gets away somehow. So I mean, The Fugitive is a great movie. Number two.
It was funny that you had gone Harrison Ford on number three, because I went Harrison Ford number two. I went Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah,
I
I had that one on there and I trimmed it away.
I think it's it's a great introduction to such a great character, because I it's one of those movies when you see Harrison Ford, most people think of Harrison Ford as either Indiana Jones, or they think of him as
Yep,
Han Solo, and
yep,
it's just right there.
yep. No, that like I said, I had that one on there, and as I'm writing the list, the movies I was re-ranking them, it fell off. For me, possibly, as the joke goes around, probably the best Christmas movie ever, Die Hard. Um, you know, what can you say? I mean, that's just filled with action. I mean, the whole series was phenomenal. So, all right, number one, Tim.
I went with a movie that made this series. Made not Die Hard, but I've got Terminator 2 Judgment Day. To me, I think it's the best of the series, but it really that's another movie that's just quotable.
Yep.
It's just action from start to finish. You're not sure how. It's one of those movies. Everybody's seen Terminator 1. You expect Terminator to go out and try to kill John Connor. You expect him to go about and kill Sarah Connor and find out that he's there to protect John Connor and Sarah Connor because of a Terminator. You get Robert Patrick, who plays the T-1000 in an absolutely amazing role. That thing is fire from start to finish.
Yeah. And my number one, probably classic, and was one of the first movies I thought of when we brought up the topic. First Blood with Stallone. Um, one of those movies where action packed. I mean, yeah, gruesome at times, but outside of the Rocky films, I think First Blood's probably one of his finer moments. But so what else? What other movies have you kind of left off? You thought that were hard to put on?
Um, it was weird that I left. Be honest, it was weird that I left off the Matrix movies.
Yeah.
I There was so much I could have done. Apocalypse Now.
Yep.
Apocalypse Now is such the quintessential war movie. Um, Platoon.
Yep.
Um, Full Metal Jacket, not really as much, but you. It's just that's another list that you could have made 10 and still missed it, still taking a bunch off. It's just
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, outside the ones you listed, that I said that I had on Fast and the Furious series. There's a couple that were duds, but outside that, it was hard to leave off some of those. Even that last one, Fast
Right.
Nine, was a hard one to leave off. Uh, I'm trying to think of some other one. Like you said, we could have went 10, 15, and probably still had another 5, 10 that we had to leave off.
Well,
So,
I could have listed a bunch of Marvel movies. I could have missed
oh
Dark
yeah,
Knight. I'm To this
oh
day,
yeah, Dark Knight was a good
Dark
one.
Knight
I
is my
love
number
the
six.
Dark
Dark Knight
Knight
is my number
definitely
six.
was good. I mean, all those like you said. I mean, Batman. I mean, God. The well, I got one that I was just about to say my personal favorites, but yeah, there's a lot that
Yeah.
So, all right, Tim. So let's get into our personal favorites. Let's start with number five. What are your personal favorites?
My personal favorite, number five, it's
Now,
Christopher
this is
Nolan.
any genre for anybody listening. This is just
Right.
some of our favorite movies.
This is our top five. Um, I've got Leonardo DiCaprio. I've got Tom Hardy. No. I didn't go Titanic, dude. It's cool. I don't. I think I've seen that movie. I've never seen that movie complete. I've seen one half of it, and then I turn around and see another half.
Yeah,
But this
but
isn't.
you won't leave
This
Nardo.
actually this isn't even this. Is, I looked at the list and I went, nope, this is a different movie. It's still Christopher Nolan, but it's McConaughey. It's
Oh,
McConaughey. It's Interstellar.
okay.
It's I've never seen a movie where you laugh, you cry, you're angry, you're frustrated, it was one of those movies, yeah, it's another one of those movies that were 2 hours and 50 minutes, but it was I have never been in a movie where I've had a roller coaster ride in my life like that movie.
Yeah,
That movie was everything.
yeah. For me, I got to kind of, you know, put this one on there. One, I have seen it quite a bit for being a guy, and two, it's the wife's favorite movie, Dirty Dancing. I mean, how can you not sit down and watch that? I mean, they even our son gets into it. A few years ago, they did a live action, or they did a ABC did a live version of this, and they redid it all. We're watching it, and my son's watching. He goes, "This ain't Dirty Dancing." We're like, "Yeah, it's not." Yeah, but no, Dirty Dancing definitely. Probably one of my favorite dramas.
My mom will be happy.
Oh,
She's a
good. I'm
big
glad.
she's a big she's a huge Patrick Swayze and Dirty
Oh,
Dancing
Patrick
fan. So yeah.
Swayze, phenomenal actor in
So yeah,
anything he touched.
Red
Yeah,
Dawn, Roadhouse. Yeah.
yeah. All right, Tim, number 4.
I've got Russell Crowe, Joaquin Phoenix, and Gladiator.
Okay.
That movie was so much fun. It's one of those punch in the face movies, and I mean it starts you right off the bat, like Saving Private Ryan, where you're storming Normandy Beach. Gladiator just was a punch in the face, and it was one of those that just didn't stop punching you in the face. That was a movie you wish you were dead like Maximus was at the beginning at the end of that movie too, because
Oh,
that was so much adrenaline in that movie.
yeah. For me, another movie I watched, and you probably watched quite a bit too. Uh, and they recently just lost one of their main actresses, Grease. Olivia Newton-John just passed away about a month ago or so. So, but I mean, Grease, one, a quotable movie, do a lot that, but just go back in high school. It's like, God, I wish our high school was like theirs. I mean, they had the clicks and
Yeah.
stuff. You know, Definitely a movie. I think everybody's probably seen more than 10 times. So, all right, number
Oh,
3, Tim.
I've seen it. I've seen it a lot. I got lucky that when they redid it, when they put it back in, for, I think it was the 25th anniversary.
Yep.
When they put it back in the movie, it was one you had to see in the theater.
Yeah,
Number
yeah, that's
three,
what I wish
um,
we could have
this
seen.
gave them this yeah. Um, Number three, this what gave Denzel Washington his Oscar. Training Day.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Training Day
Yeah,
just Training Day was just it was one of those. It's I can sit there and watch Training Day for hours and hours and hours and on end, and it never gets old. Just to see Denzel Washington play a bad guy, and he plays it was as if it was something he was born to do, as if he was if the lines were written specifically for him just to go off and just do what he does,
yeah.
and Ethan Hawke plays the good guy to go right along with him.
But a lot of Denzel movies, his characters are almost that hardcore. I mean,
Yeah.
even in Coach Carter. I mean, he was kind of the bad hardcore guy. Soul Man. Where it was him and um,
No, no,
can't think of.
you're thinking of Samuel Jackson.
Oh, I am thinking of Samuel. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You are exactly right. See, I get those two mixed up. Great actors, both of them. You are right. I
No,
did get
no.
those.
See, it's weird how you get Samuel Jackson and Denzel Washington mixed up when everybody else gets Lawrence Fishburne and Samuel Jackson mixed up.
Yeah, yeah.
And I really can't wait to see. And from my rumors that I've heard is that Denzel Washington is going to be in the MCU as possibly being Magneto. So I think it's going to be. I think we're going to see something really interesting.
Yeah. Um, my number three movie I do own. I've watched it, and I think I just like it just the fact that it'd be kind of cool to be able to have the ability to do it, and that is the movie Jumper. You know, just to get out of everything, just think of a place and boom, you're in there. You know, and stuff like that. I just think it's the coolest thing that be able to walk out, open up your door, walk out, and you're in France, or and stuff like that. So I think that's probably why I like it. Okay, tell me your number two.
Number two, I went with this, and most people who know me understand why I went with number two. This for number two. This was the first movie that I had ever gone to. It's the first movie my dad took me to, and it basically was the introduction to this whole series. And it had one of the greatest twists in movie cinematic history, and it's Empire Strikes Back.
Oh yeah,
It's when you talk to Star Wars fans, they tell you it's the number one movie on all their lists. And it's just again Harrison Ford again. He just shows up, and when you see the twist in the movie, it just makes it's another one of those that punches you in the face when you're not expecting it.
yeah, exactly. No, that Star Wars was definitely a classic, and Star Wars fans will say that they diehard ones will say that they didn't ruin anything by making the prequels and stuff. But I'm not a diehard Star Wars fan like them, but the original three are by far the best of the bunch. I mean, I know they branched off and they started doing the individual movies, which hey, it's cool, whatever. For me, I got Patrick Swayze at 5, and I got him again at 2. Roadhouse, another movie I could sit and watch and watch and watch all the time. Classic movie, another movie that probably if you watch it, you can quote everything from there. Just it just shows that he goes from being in a drama as a dancer to going in an action film, and you could be a bouncer, a hard guy, and just a big bully and stuff like that. So a guy that could act in pretty different characters. All right, Tim, what's the number one? What's your oos?
My prime oos, because got to be oosy. Even this show
Yep,
and every other show, you got to be oosy.
yep.
This is one of those movies that if it's on, I'm done talking to you. I'm if it's and when I was in the United States, TBS used to show this at least once a month, and I would find it. And if TBS didn't show it, TNT had it on, and I found it. It's my favorite Stephen King book. It's my favorite Stephen
Oh,
King movie, and it's The Shawshank Redemption.
yep.
That movie got robbed of the Oscar. That movie that oh my I see that movie and it's like you all you can do is sit there and just watch it, and it's another one that had the twist when you find out. For anybody who has never watched Shawshank Redemption, spoiler, he didn't do it. It to me, I there could be 10 minutes left in that movie, and when he gets up and when Morgan Freeman's character comes to goes to see Tim Robbins' character and Zinway and in the boat, I'll watch that. I have no problems. If it's the last 5 minutes to 10 minutes of the movie, I'll watch it. I absolutely, to me, that movie do absolutely no wrong.
Yeah, that one, I haven't. I've probably seen it, but it's only been a few times. And that one, I know a lot of people are saying it got robbed of a lot of awards. for me, my number one personal favorite, not just because it's a baseball movie, but Major League. I mean, I know a lot of it spun off into Major League Two, Major League Three, back into minors. I actually think Major League Three was better than Major League Two, but just Charlie Sheen and all those guys. I mean, just getting that team together and everybody coming from different spots and trying to put this team together and move to Vegas as the owner wants, but then the players are like, oh no,
Yeah.
we're gonna play, we're gonna beat you, and so it's just one of those great quotable movies for sure, but one of my personal favorites.
Yeah,
So,
another one. And the funny
yeah.
thing, is that it's like when most people don't understand is that Bob Uecker was never given a script. Bob Uecker basically ad-libbed every entire line he had in that movie.
Oh, he did? I did not know that. I guess I gotta do some research. And he had some great lines.
He ad-libbed everything, and that's the funny thing is, and me being a Milwaukee Brewers fan, and they filmed the first movie at County Stadium in Milwaukee.
Yep.
And they say, well, we'll get Bob Uecker because we remember him from the Miller Lite commercials and from when he used to do the backstage interviews for the WWF back in the day for WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
And they said, well, we can get Bob Uecker. Bob Uecker's in town because he does the radio play-by-play for the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll get him. He's just right there, and all that stuff just ad-libbed. Absolutely.
I did not know that. That's good because I mean he had some quotable, some iconic lines in that movie. So some movies you left off, Tim.
Dark Knight. Dark Knight I left off. Jaws. On the Waterfront. I absolutely love On the Waterfront. Brando back in the 40s, I want to say. Another one got robbed of the Oscar. There's so many to list. When I heard about our top 5 favorites, I could go top 25. I could have gone top 100, and I still have a lot left that didn't make the list. I absolutely love movies. What didn't you have on the list?
Man, I had Christmas Vacation, but like you said earlier, all the National Lampoon movies, European Vacation, the original, Vegas Vacation. I mean, all those could have been on this list. Draft Day, Moneyball, just because both those, I wish I could be a fly on the wall when like Draft Day, be in the war room and listen to see if that Draft Day was actually kind of closer. Yeah, you're not going to get a guy to trade 3 picks and then get them all back. I mean, I get that, but just to hear the discussion on, oh, we need to draft this guy, we need to draft this guy. Oh, this team's calling for this trade. It'd be interesting. Moneyball. Just trying to build a team. Trying to be a competitive team, and now everybody's doing the analytics. I could easily put Fridays up there. I mean, all the Fridays. I mean, like you said, again, this is probably one of the lists that was hard because if we would have did top 10, we would have still left off, 5, 10 other movies. And like you said, we could have went top 20 in some of these and probably still would have left off movies. I mean, it's just, movies are one of those genres that, topics that it's hard to put movies on there.
You could talk for days about. You could definitely talk
exactly.
days and days about.
I mean, even we quoted Lion King earlier. He said, I mean, Lion King was a pretty good movie. Toy Story.
Yeah, that was one I did.
Animated movies. I mean, we could have done a lot of those. All right, so let's get into Aladdin. I mean, how many times did we quote Aladdin and stuff like that? So, for me, let's get into our quotes. I can't wait to hear some of your favorite quotes, and so let's start with number 5.
I got one from a movie I just basically said that I took off I didn't have on my list, and it had one of the most quoted lines. That's one of the more quoted lines that's actually quoted wrong, and it's from Jaws. You're going to need a bigger boat. It's just you just see that, and you see the shark, and and the shock on Roy Scheider's face when he sees the shark, it's amazing to see, and he quotes that line, and like we're in over our head, and that's just we need a lot more help than what we've got given.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it.
Yeah, it's just me calling you.
Okay.
Hi, Dave.
Sorry about that, guys. Had a quick one. So yeah, Jaws. Okay. For me, I gotta go Christmas Vacation. There's a lot I could have picked from, but the one I picked was where they bring home the Christmas tree. And the neighbor's like, "Hey, where you gonna stick that, Griswold?" And he says, "Bend over, and I'll show you." And he's like, "Oh, that's kind of rude." He's like, "I was talking to you." Talking to his wife. But there's a lot of there that you could have done. My personal favorite in that movie though is where Griswold gets that bonus and he starts just going off. And at the end, he's like, "Holy shit, I need some Tylenol," stuff like that. So, all right. So let's go number 4 there, Tim.
I went with the Dead Poet Society. This is another one of those that you see a lot, and most people that are around today has never seen this movie and has probably seen what happens, and it's when Robin Williams gets fired and he has to leave the classroom, and you see all the kids start standing on their desks and saying, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," and that's to me that's one of those signs of the most ultimate respect, and that what's happening to you, it just shouldn't be happening, again, one of those movies that it's not everybody's cup of tea because it's not action, it's not comedy, but it's one of Robin Williams at his finest.
Yeah, Robin Williams is probably another guy we probably could have, we might have to do a topic on. Who knows? For me, I have I have the movie as one of my top favorites. It's Major League. Lou Brown. Definitely, there's a lot of quotes in there, but I like the one where they're in the locker room. They find out that they want to. The owner wants them to move and to play bad, and it goes out of there. He's like, "I want to give them all just a nice little big shit burger," and for their news reporters and stuff. But again, that's another movie that we could probably quote all day long. So, all right, Tim, number 3.
That's the one. That's the one where Harry Doyle is basically everybody's quoting Harry Doyle, and it's hilarious to find out.
Just a bit outside.
Harry, just a bit outside.
Yeah, I don't know how he could have laid off that pitch that close. I mean,
Or they're talking about, Wild Thing and him starting last year in the California Penal League, and to me, it's one of those. Everything Doyle did was, it was funny.
Well, what about even after the first game where he gives up that home run, and he's like, the pitcher coach is like, "Oh, should I go take him out now?" No, let's see what he comes up with. He hits the bat. He goes, "All right, I think you can take him out now." So, all right, you're number 3.
From Empire back, the most misquoted line in movie cinematic history. "No, I am your father." Absolutely, this was one of those kick to the guts. It was, "No, I'm your father," from Darth Vader when he says that. It was one of those, Darth Vader was one of those guys that always wanted the upper hand, and by saying that, he gets the upper hand on Luke Skywalker, and that's where everything changes.
Yep. Oh, that's definitely a big one. For me, number 3, another movie series that we probably could have had in comedies, maybe a little action. I don't know where it would have really fit, but Back to the Future, specifically the second one. And I think they do it. I think they tie it into the end of the first movie into the second one, where Doc goes and picks them up, and they're getting ready to go, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have enough road," and Doc's like, roads, where we're going, we don't need roads. And that's when the DeLorean floats up and takes off. Definitely one of the iconic quotes. All right. What do you got for number 2?
Probably one of the most iconic lines in movie cinematic history. Arnold Schwarzenegger at his finest. From the first Terminator, I'll be back.
Yep.
That is
I thought about putting that in
unreal.
there too. Yep. Yeah, just
It's
simple.
just such an amazing line.
Well, what about another one in Kindergarten Cop? I mean,
Was
when
not
the
a
kid's
tumor.
like, yeah, it's not a tumor. Yeah.
It's not a
I mean,
tumor.
yeah. For me, my number
Kindergarten
2.
Cop's another one of
Oh,
those.
yeah, exactly. For me, number 2, again, I gotta go back to Major League, but this one I'm going to the second one, and they're in spring training, and they get Partman, and he's facing Wild Thing, and he goes, "What do you call that garbage?" I call that the Eliminator. The Eliminator, yeah. Rick, I got a new one for you. I'll show you. If you get a piece of it, you can rename it. And he parks it. And he's running to first base. He's like, I'll call that the masturbator. As he's rounding first base. Yeah.
Wasn't what I can't remember. I think it's Major League, and I think there's another one. I think it might be Parkman, where Parkman. No. It's the first one. It's not Parkman. And they go up to Stranger's character behind the plate, and he goes, "How's your wife and my kids?"
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's yeah. How's your wife and my kids? Or even back in the first one where he's like, "Oh, well, I just need you to throw it over the plate." He's like, "Yeah, last time I did that, he hit it and the ball hasn't landed." He's like, "Oh, don't worry, I want him to hit it." So he goes in there. He's like, "Oh, 2 outs, 2 on, and you're in one hell of a situation here." And he gets down, and the pitch is coming. He goes, "Yeah, I saw your wife the other day. He might be a close, good friend of yours, but what was he doing wearing your wife's panties on his head?" He just pops it straight up in front of the plate.
Oh, we got all of that one, folks.
Yeah, he got that one. Yeah, I don't think he got all of that one. So, all right, Tim, let's go with the number 1 oos. What's your oos?
But my oos, and one of those lines says by one of the oosiest actors in Hollywood, Jack Nicholson, from A Few Good Men.
Yep.
Tom Cruise is just browbeating him, looking for the answer, looking for everything. And Nicholson just looks at him, dead face, just getting red, and you can't handle the truth.
Yep.
It's just amazing. Every time anybody ever says the word truth, everybody that follows it usually says, "You can't handle the truth."
Yep, exactly. No, that's definitely one. I figured one of us should have had it. I didn't put it on there, but it was. But for me, I think I even said this line earlier from Roadhouse. Dalton's there talking about his rules and just be nice. And one of the bartenders or bosses goes, "What they call my mama a whore?" And his simple reply, "Well, I mean, that's just definitely,
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of that movie alone. Sam Elliott pops in with one, and
Sam Elliott.
what are you doing here, old
Terry
man?
Funk comes in one.
What's
I
up?
can't remember Terry Funk. Yeah, that's Funk. The old man comment was Terry Funk. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing here, old man?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not here to show you my dick. Yeah.
Or the introduction of Dalton by at the beginning. It's like, who's that? That's Dalton.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The music, the guitar player. Everyone's like, "Who's that?"
Yeah.
The name Dalton. But no. What are some?
Remaking that movie. My understanding is they're remaking that movie.
They've been trying.
Why?
They wanted to do. They wanted to do a girl version of it, and it was rumored to be Ronda Rousey, and I don't know if that
Yeah.
just got canned to the side or what, but yeah, there's some movies. I mean, remake them. I mean, I get, but what
Remake
are a
them,
few?
but with a different name.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we might have to do a topic on remade movies that we think that shouldn't have been remade, or because I got a couple. But what are some quotes that you kind of
I
left
got
off?
well,
What's that?
um
Oh,
I've got a couple. I got a couple movies that remakes that shouldn't have been made.
yeah,
Let's see. I know a bit, just a bit outside was one.
yeah,
Um, uh, either get living, either get ready, either get living, and you. I can't even say the quote right.
yeah.
You get busy living, or you get busy dying.
Yep.
Uh, Hasta la vista, baby was on the list.
Another Arnold Schwarzenegger quick one.
Another one that was on the list, and I don't know why I didn't put it on there, was Hasta la vista, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, it's strange. We might be going for. I'm running out of batteries. Keep going.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it was.
I need to.
Oh no, that's okay. I mean, for me, there's quite a few of them. I'm trying to think of the movie now. Remember the Titans when Coach Boone is like, Petey, how many yards are in a mile? 360 whatever, and I want you to take this ball and run them all, and I mean there's I mean, yeah, we could go on forever.
We could another one. We can go on for days.
Yeah, exactly. So, but hope you guys. I know Tim was having a little issues towards the end there, but I hope you guys, like I said, leave comments. You're probably most likely going to watch this on replay. Again, we want to try to do something early for everybody, but with that being said, Tim, what you got? What's your final thoughts?
Again, like you said, we're not here to make people angry. We're here to make people. We're here to start a conversation.
Yep.
We're gonna run out of. Eventually, we're gonna run out of ideas. So, just leave them in the comments. And if not, get a hold of us somehow. We'll get back to you.
Yep, exactly. And just keep checking out C2C all week long. We got a lot of great shows tonight on deck. Hopefully, we get our final MLB show in. I know we've been having some scheduling issues with the guys. Hopefully, we get that on Tuesday Night Mania, Wednesday Sports Minute, and so on Bo and Joe show. And then you'll see myself and Tim on Morning Tailgate, which got a lot to break down on this past week 10. So definitely check us out on Morning Tailgate. So with that being said, I want to thank Tim. I want to thank our viewers now, and I want to thank our viewers on the replay if you guys get to see it. But with that being said, have a good day. See you all next Tuesday on C2C Rankem. Have a good night.